Episode number 39. Welcome into the Cam and Strick podcast, brought to you by CarShield and also Bellman.com. I'm Andy Strickland, Cam Jansen in the hizzy.
What up? What up? CarShield, baby. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Getting them on.
Can we talk about those shorts you're wearing right now? Are those Michael Jacksons?
Dude, I look
They've got
sexy.
zippers all over them.
Dude, these are Lulu, homeboy. I think I got them from your wife when she worked there.
Probably. I mean,
she hooked me up. She gave these to me for free and gave me the wink like, there you go.
You should
You're
not
a
have,
good customer.
You should not have paid for those.
I didn't. These are 10 years old. I did the first time I wore shorts in like, I don't know, 8 months.
You got the palest skin
God,
going
I
on
look like
right now.
shit.
You're so pasty.
Oh, I am.
You've got zippers all over these shorts like it's from a Thriller video back in like 1982 or whatever.
I need zippers, man. I'm hiding things, dude. God, I look like shit. I seriously though, man. I'm starting to work out again, but
are you?
I'm a pale. My legs are pale. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's this whole quarantine thing. I'm not on a rhythm. We're doing this. We do it at 2 o'clock. We'll do a show at 1 o'clock. We'll do this at this. So it's hard to get your rhythm down, man. I mean, I'm still jacked. I'm a lot more jacked than you are.
No, you're not.
Although you're fucking dieting. I don't know why you're dieting.
I don't
anyway.
diet.
You don't eat for 48 hours, and I'm like, I want you to eat. You're not gonna walk into a bar. You're gonna get ID'd going places if you don't put some muscle mass on. I'm dead serious. They're gonna be like, who's your little brother? I'm like, no. I mean, come on.
No.
Put some weight on. Stop fasting.
Cam is like the big brother who's like younger than me, though.
Yeah, no shit.
It doesn't even make sense.
I know.
I
look old, man.
With terrible shorts, and you're pale as hell.
God, they're
you
old,
need
too.
Go lay out on your deck.
My shoes are muddy.
Looking at the river.
God, I look like dog shit.
You need to get on a boat, which you talk about every single week.
I do need to get on a boat. I miss my boat so much. Look, all you people out there, listen to me right now. I'm going to say this again. I've said this before. I don't know if I said it on this or not. I don't give a shit. Boats are endless fun. You want to go get a Corvette? Fine. I did the Corvette thing. I don't even know how to change my own oil. I didn't even know how to open the damn thing sometimes. Corvette, I got sick of it. Boats are endless fun. You could take your kids on the boat. You can go up the river on a boat. You could take it to a lake and go to a cove and hang out and party. Just being on the water is fun. Yeah, the investment. Yeah, boats are shit sometimes. And you got to pay money and this and that. They hold their value, actually. Buy a boat. It's endless fun. I'm looking at you, Andy Strickland.
I thought
I'm looking at you.
Last episode, Jeremy Roenick mentioned a boat, and he got no response from you. I said,
Did he really?
Oh, God, he mentioned a boat. And I was amazed that you didn't hear it, and it was the greatest part of the interview for me was the fact that you didn't hear him talk about a boat, because I thought we were going to have to talk about a boat for another 20 minutes.
I was going to be like, JR, what kind of boat you got? I got a pontoon boat. What?
Okay.
Pontoon boat? Get on with yourself, JR.
Everyone's talking about hub cities in the NHL. Where are they going to play? So I want you just to make the announcement right now. What are the 4 cities? Just where should they play? What 4 cities?
Put me on the spot.
What
really.
What 4 cities should they go to?
Well, Arizona probably, Phoenix area right there. So Arizona would have one.
They are number 1 in the rankings for quarantine.
Well, no one goes down there
for quarantine. Everything's open.
No one's watching.
Everything's open.
No one's going to be fine. St. Louis is probably number 2. But if you're going to do it at, I'm telling you this, you're going to do it at the $250 million facility that we have, our little playground that they built for the Blues and for the alumni and all of us to be around. If they're going to have what do they call it? The pod? What are they calling it? The pod?
Hubs.
Whatever. If they're going to have the hub there, the Psycho fans, which I'm not. The Psycho fans in St. Louis are going to go there. And they're going to wait outside, and they're going to want to watch hockey. And you might be one of them, Andy Strickland. I don't know who you're kidding. But I know all the guys that follow us around on radio, all the hardcore Blues fans who I love to death, they are going to go to Centene, and they're going to wait out and pick
What are you talking about? They can't get in.
They're going to wait out and stare through the window.
Well, they can they can do that all they want.
I'm just saying. It's
social distance. We're keeping everybody healthy. We're trying to bring the game back.
I agree.
Okay, so St. Louis is number 2. What's your third city?
I would say Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, you want to go to Raleigh?
I don't want to go to Raleigh.
No, Raleigh's an underrated city. It's actually very nice.
It's awesome there.
Yes.
Beautiful pine trees.
Yes.
You can fly into Raleigh and you go and you play against the Carolina Hurricanes.
How are the COVID cases there now? Do you know?
Why are you asking me these freaking questions?
Well, that's part of it.
I don't know. Probably okay.
So
they're probably okay there. It's not. It's the East Coast, but it's not Jersey. Everything's spread out. It's beautiful.
Okay, so we have Arizona, Raleigh, St. Louis. What's the 4th?
The 4th would probably be.
You're not giving Canada any love whatsoever.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Edmonton, I hear, is like a slam dunk.
I could say Edmonton, man. I'd say Edmonton. It's it's kind of isolated in its own way. I think COVID the numbers are relatively normal there. So do I know
You're
this?
looking at me.
Do I know? Let me look it up real quick. For Dr. Fauci speaking here. I don't know, but if you want to go to Edmonton and do it, then fine. I don't give a shit where you go.
What about Miami?
I go to Miami, baby. Florida. Oh yeah, go down to Florida. No one's watching down there either, and you're in the middle of a swamp.
All right, let me ask you this, and with all due respect to Kenny Howland and Connor McDavid and everybody else, Leon Draisaitl, if you were a player and they said pack your bags,
you're going to Edmonton.
You're going to Edmonton for a month.
Like, fuck you, Edmonton. Oh, cool. I get to stay there for 8 weeks. Oh, cool. I'll go to the same restaurant every single night like we usually do when we fly in there. I like Edmonton. I love all you guys, man. Don't get me wrong. I love Edmonton. It's hardcore in the winter, and that's fine. It's hardcore in the winter. That's it. In the summertime, it's beautiful. In the wintertime, it's hardcore.
You've never been there in the summertime. You'd have no idea.
Can't I pump it up, please? I heard that it was nice in the summer. Let me say that.
Okay.
It's not good in the winter, and I know that for a fact. You walk outside, and your face freezes, like your eyelashes.
I know.
Oh my
I've
God!
Been there. Every time I've been there, I've never seen the streets because they're covered in ice.
Great.
No, they're covered in ice.
You know what I hate when I go in there? You have to walk down the ramp in Edmonton, right? You blow out a tire. I didn't even say the F word on that one. You blow a tire. Then you get up, and your Hugo Boss suit has a rip in it. Then you go down, and you look at all the beautiful cars that
he
they
always
drive.
says Hugo Boss suit. And
Hugo Boss.
Listen,
That's what I do, baby.
I think Hugo Boss suits are nice.
Oh, here he is. Oh,
but
I like Canelli. Shut up.
But
Hugo Boss is sick tough. They sponsored the NHL. That's why we had it.
Did you ever buy a suit?
Oh, my God. I bought a ton of them, dude.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. All my suits now when I go on TV are like 15 years old and it shows.
Like Patty Maroon told me when he first came into the show. Who was the guy? He was married to a girl from Desperate Housewives. Really good defenseman. Played in Jersey.
The handsome bugger.
Come on.
Oh,
now.
Sheldon
Had an unbelievable shot. Yes.
Oh my God! Where Scotty Gomez told me one time when they went to a bar in New York City, and a beautiful woman, came up to Sheldon Surrey and goes, "You're the most beautiful man I've ever seen." And he's like, "Thank you." And he keeps walking. I'm like, imagine some hot chick said that to you. Like, that doesn't happen. Maybe at Harry's once in a while when they're like liquor drunk at 3 o'clock in the morning, they might say I'm cute. But other than that, you're the most beautiful man I've ever seen. That ain't coming my way or your way, son.
Oh, it might come my way.
Definitely you're the most beautiful little boy I've ever seen in my life.
It's not coming your way with those shorts on.
No, I look like like shit.
You look like Michael Jackson. Thriller
Wait,
video.
Is it Michael Jackson in the 80s when he was kind of cool still?
With zippers all over. I don't know what you have
that
going
guy was
on.
making coin. That guy was making coin.
Jeez.
Then he got weird.
Okay, so yeah, Sheldon Surrey. He gave Patty Maroon all his suits, man. I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, at the very beginning, oh my God, I remember walking in the locker room, and I had the shittiest suit on ever, and like Patrick Elias and Marty, like, what are you doing? And then Vladimir Bure, Pavel Bure, who was my favorite player growing up, who was our skating coach at the time, goes, "Hey, come on, I need to talk."
Who's Vladimir?
Vladimir's his dad.
He was your skating coach?
Yes. That's why I'm fast as shit.
Vladimir Bure.
Yes.
So Pavel Bure and Valerie Bure, who I got to know.
Yeah.
He's married to one of the girls
Candace
from
Bure. Candace Cameron.
Yeah, from Full House, one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Love Full House.
Go figure that.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Nerd boy.
Unbelievable show. Their dad was a skating coach.
And he bagged me up every single day, especially when I was injured throughout that 2007
Did they even have to see his resume? He was like, I'm Pavel Bure's
He's like, come,
dad.
Dude, the skate like this. Avusha, and get them out. And do avusha. I'm like, oh, okay. He just tortured me is what he did, but he was a great guy. But he came in the locker room and told me, he goes, come here. I go, what's up? Are you going to kill me today? He's like, no. You look like shit. Kind of like I do now.
Vladimir would say that?
He goes, that suit's god-awful. Oh. You change that suit. You gotta go. You're making money now.
Yeah.
Go buy that suit. And then right when he said that, I called him, and Patrick Elias said the same damn thing. John Madden started chirping. I'm like, okay, that's it. I got cigarette burns in my crotch.
How much would it cost to live in Jersey, though?
A lot of money, dude. Dude, when I first got there, I'm like, this is cool. Yay, New York City. Yay. And then I go back there. I'm like, oh my god, everything's expensive as shit. Like, you just even realize it when you're 21 and you're making, 30 grand a month, 50 grand a month, whatever it was. 50 grand a month. Yeah, 50 grand a month. Mm-hmm. Maybe more than that. I don't even remember. But it didn't matter. Okay, it didn't matter. I didn't have any bills at the time. Like, I had my house, but it didn't matter. But then you go back there and you're like, oh shit, I gotta find another house. I'm like, ooh, $4,500, $5,500 a month. 65. Oh, okay. And it's nothing. I found a good place because Dave Steckel was moving out because he got traded. I just kind of moved in there. But damn, dude, it is expensive. And for what, really? I love it in Jersey, but for what, really?
What would Vladimir Bure say to you?
You look like shit.
No. How would he explain how you...
Whoosha. And go, whoosha. Push your legs out like whoosha. Whoosha. I'm like, Jesus. All right.
Okay.
Fast as shit now.
All right, couple things we have to get to. By the way, we're doing chapters now.
Yeah, baby.
Because people...
I read books.
They want chapters. What's the last book you read?
Motherfucker, I read...
You don't read.
See, you're pissing me off, and I'm trying not to cuss. And I read the book It by Stephen King a couple years ago. It. And I read... Dude, all I do is read all day. I read good.
You started it a couple years ago?
I started and didn't finish it. I read a page, and then it got too long, and I'm like, okay. No, but I did read. I love Stephen King. I love horror movies or horror books. I do. Stephen King... If I'm on a plane ride, I'll jam out to that, and it'll take me, just like playing video games, it takes you away from reality.
How long does it take you to read? Does it take you a long time?
I don't know, a year or two.
Okay.
At least I did it.
No, I'm
better
happy to hear that.
I'm better at...
Does Kate read?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm better at reading now. I'm better at writing now.
Mm-hmm.
I could
typing?
spell words now sometimes. I could
Typing?
type with my left hand. My left hand is... I'm using my left hand when I type, not just the middle finger or the pointer. I'm like using all fingers on my left hand when I type.
Okay, we got to talk about some stuff here. All right, Patrick O'Sullivan. Now, this guy wrote a book. His story was well known before he ever stepped foot on NHL ice. And I'll never forget 2003 draft. All these rumors circulating, and I read this story leading up to the draft. I don't remember who wrote it, ESPN.com, maybe SI, I don't know, about some of the issues that he had to overcome to get to where he was as a potential NHL draft pick. And his dad was like, Psycho. And so there was security with him. He talks about it here in the interview on the podcast here. And security, obviously protecting him at the NHL draft, and he ended up being drafted. And
not as high as he wanted to go. He got bumped down big time.
And he was like one of the most talented players coming into the draft. Would have easily been a first round pick. I think he was he first overall in the OHL draft? He was a high pick in the OHL draft.
Dude. Yeah, I played. He was absolutely dominant in the O.
And played in the World Juniors for Team USA. Scored a big goal.
That's right. No, I
think Marc-Andre Fleury shot it off of him, and then it went in.
All while your dad is threatening you
and showing up at every game,
and making it. You put it this way, guys. You haven't heard this yet, and this is the intro, and I get it. I legitimately asked a question to him. Did you ever think about killing him? And I was dead serious on it, and he answered it in a serious way.
And for the record, you told me before the podcast, I may ask this question. I said, yeah, you might not want to.
How can you not think that way?
But it wasn't bad.
How can you not think that way?
Yeah.
Look, he would go to him and say, you better play good, or you're going to get it.
Right.
I'd be like, what? Then you have to go to school.
Wake him up when he's sleeping.
Wake him up you better play.
The one thing that he says in this show that I want people who are hockey parents to listen to, because everyone likes to throw their videos up of their 3-year-old and 4-year-old playing hockey and he's going to make it to the NHL because he can run around and shoot. I play hockey with my kid every day. I hardly ever put videos up. I just don't. I don't want to be one of those guys.
Good, don't do it.
No. And for those who do, it's okay. But Patrick O'Sullivan says if hockey was all about who was on the ice the most, who trained the most, who practiced the most, he would have been the greatest player in the history of the game.
Yeah.
Because nobody ever outworked him, was on the ice more. I mean, he was on the ice all the time. But it also probably impacted how much he loved the game.
Oh, how can you like it when that's all you're thinking?
This guy quit long before he needed to. Yeah. And there's no question that his upbringing, relationship with his dad, impacted how his NHL career ultimately went because he had so much talent. And, obviously, listen, his rookie year in the American League, I think he scored more than 40 goals, 45 goals or something.
He dominated.
How hard is that as a young kid, as a rookie in the American League?
I mean, I did it, but, I'm unbelievable. Didn't. Look, playing the American League is the most scrambly-ass shit you'll ever fucking deal with in your life. Everybody hits you. No one has a system, really. And people are called up left and right, and there's heavies cruising around. It is a hardcore league to play in and be successful in. And for you to rack up 40 goals like that, I mean, it's just not easy, man. 3-3, it's just a pain in the ass to play in, man. You okay? Did you take a bong rip, homeboy?
Something came down my. I took a drink here.
No, turn that up. I want him to cough in the mic. Sound like a jackass.
Okay, so Patrick O'Sullivan. Looking forward to people to hear this interview and hear his story.
God, you fuck. What's wrong with you? I'm trying not to throw the F-bombs around, but you're coughing in the mic, and you're starting to drive me crazy.
I said the over-under for you today.
I'm good, man.
Usually you drop about anywhere from
No, I'm done with it.
30
No, I'm done with it, dude.
to 80.
Don't fire me up. I'm good. I'm good. Like, I'm in a good spot right now.
You've only done like 3 or 4 here in the open, so it's good.
Yeah, I'm good. That's a good pace, I think. I'm trying not to do it. So
parents
knows.
driving around with little Johnny and Susie.
I know.
It's okay to listen to this episode.
Thank you. Johnny and Susie, it's okay. I'm sorry. That's what they say. I'm sorry about that.
Is that your Canadian
Can
version?
I say something real quick, though?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I do get wound up, and I know I'm emotional, and I do throw F-bombs. So if you are in a car, I'm sorry about that. I am going to work on it. I'm still going to be. I'm dead serious. And stop laughing at me. I'm dead serious. Yes. So I want you guys to listen in the car and stuff, and maybe by your wife and stuff like that. Andy's not allowed to do it by his wife, but she runs his show like no other. So it is what it is.
God.
But I'm just letting you know I'm working on it.
Okay, we appreciate that. All right, enjoy this one from Patrick O'Sullivan. All right, new sponsor.
Oh yeah,
Car Shield. In the hizzy.
Stop saying that. Oh, they're gonna like back out in 2 seconds. You say that one more time, they're gonna back out.
Why?
Hizzy and the hizzy.
You don't know what that means?
No, I don't.
Listen, you wouldn't know this, although you should. I heard Cam from like 2 miles away. You need to get your engine checked.
Is it ticking?
And you better have some coverage.
Is it ticking?
From Car Shield. Yeah, you probably need it. You need to get a new truck. Or if you just have Car Shield coverage, then you're all good. Few things more frustrating than having to wait months in between hockey games, right? You know that.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Okay. One thing that's just as frustrating is when you're in the car and your check engine light comes on. You're driving. You got to be somewhere. And you know your bank account is low anyway. Yeah. The light comes on, and you're like, oh, my God, how am I going to pay for this? I don't even want to take it in and get it checked because I don't want the bad news.
No.
And then you find yourself stranded on the side of the road. That could happen to almost anybody. You know that.
It can't happen. It can't happen to everybody.
Yeah, well, that's why you need Car Shield. So whether you're on the road to Chicago to catch a game or just heading downtown to the Arch if you're here in St. Louis, Car Shield keeps you on the road. Hey, let Car Shield keep that check engine light on the bench. Call Car Shield and get coverage today. Call 800-857-2481. Mention the code CAM. I don't know why that's the
CAM.
code.
CAM, baby. It's easy. It's me. I'm sexy. These shorts suck, but it's an easy name to remember.
Terrible. It should be mentioned Andy, and we might switch that. Okay, Scoops.
Who?
Cam. Yeah. Hurts me to say that. Visit carshield.com and use the code CAM to save 10%. That's carshield.com. Use the code CAM. A deductible may apply. So this is all in serious, man. You have some issues, transmission, muffler, engine, whatever it is, man. It costs a lot of money. You get that coverage through Car Shield, they will take care of it. They've settled something like over $1 million in claims, something like that. So I mean, something crazy.
Tons of claims, and also they're great people. They support hockey and youth hockey, and they do everything they possibly can to help out these kids trying to make it to the NHL. Something that I got to do and Andy didn't get to do. Yeah. Maybe if Carcillo was around when Andy was young, he might have been able to make it. Yeah. Not. But the point is, they help out all these youth hockey in the city, and they're great people. They love hockey, and they're doing great work for people outside of hockey that their car's ticking. Yeah. Kind of like mine, Andy.
So, again, get hooked up, get your coverage. Covers parts, labor, and taxes on repairs.
Awesome.
All right, Bellman.com. Get your new Cadillac, your Buick, your GMC right across the street. They got the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Get yourself some new wheels. Say hello to our boy Dan Bellman.
Yeah, baby. Hockey
He'll hook
people.
you up. BEHLMANN.com. Bellman.com. Get your new wheels in time for the summer. They will take care of you. And tell them we sent you when you go there. Say hi to Dale as well and all our friends over there with Bellman.com. All right, Patrick O'Sullivan.
Yes.
This guy's got a hell of a story to tell. Episode number 39, the Cam and Strick podcast, brought to you by Car Shield and Bellman.com. You know, Cam, things are looking good. Things are looking nice.
Yeah, they are.
When thenormalbrand.com and the Normal Brand is open for business.
Oh, my God. They got some great stuff. Men's and women's clothing. You look sharp. It's a great local St. Louis company that we all love. And, of course, they love hockey as well.
And back in business, Monday, May 18th.
Woo!
8809 Ladue Road. Come support one of the best local businesses here in the Lou, The Normal Brand, and thenormalbrand.com. Enjoy. I thought of you today when I was watching like a video that you had, put out telling your story a few years ago about, or maybe it was a tweet or part of your Players Tribune story. I don't know. It was one of the things that I read about you. And you were talking about how you either have it or you don't. And, everyone has these skill coaches. And I know Adam Oates deals with professional players. He's not, he's not training 10-year-olds. But I'm curious, after you listened to Oates, did you agree with what he said about hockey sense and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think without a question, you can teach that. I mean, that's kind of what I do now is I work with kids and some pro guys that's kind of something that I'm looking to expand. I'm sure we'll get into all this stuff, but when I got out of the media a couple years ago, my kids were at the age where they were able to play hockey for an organization, and I didn't want to get involved. And then inevitably, I just couldn't stand there and watch some of the stuff that was going on. So long story short, I got into coaching. So I coach my kids, and I also work with other kids. And then I don't like the term skill coach. I think everybody, there's millions of people not millions, but there's lots of people that call themselves skills coaches. And I think all this quote unquote skills, you could want to teach, you can find that stuff and you can do it, in an isolated manner. And you don't need to be Adam Oates, or you don't need to be anybody who played at a high level to learn that stuff. I think the difference is the good quote unquote skills coaches are able to teach that stuff and apply it within a game situation. So that's kind of what I like to do. And Andy, I know that the conversation you had with Adam in that interview was the fact that you talked to former players and they seem to think that you can't teach hockey sense. Yeah. And I guess my thought or reply to that would be, you don't know how to teach it, or maybe, that player didn't have a lot of it when they played would be my guess, because I think there's a lot of drills that you can do to teach it, especially in a setting where there's more than just the one player and the coach on the ice. You give me 3 or 4 kids. I mean, there's 5 or 6 little drills, just little things you can teach that force them to make decisions. And then from there, they're learning from the drill and actually playing instead of just telling them what they're supposed to be doing or what they should be learning. So
like what though, Patty? When Oatsy taught me in 2012, little things on the wall, just make it easier for yourself, kind of thing. Simplify the game. Give us an example of what you're talking about.
Yeah, but that's a good point. I mean, it's part of it's preparing yourself for the situation that's coming, or while you're and the really, really good players are able to, I think, start to know what's going to happen after the fact. But there's a big difference between teaching an 8-year-old and teaching a player who's playing in the NHL. Even if it's somebody like how you played, Cam, you have to know and understand hockey to play in the NHL. Now, what you can do with the puck, or how hard you could shoot, or how accurate you are, or what kind of passes you can make, or, I like to talk about playing between people. If you watch some of the better players in the NHL, or really at any level, they're able to play and get things done when they're in between 2 players on the other team. And guys who are able to create a 1-on-2 situation. And it's one of the things I do with my kids, the kids I work with, is we'll do drills in practice 2 versus 3 off the rush. And if you can create or gain entry into the offensive zone with 2 guys against 3, then you're able to create 2-on-1s in other areas of the ice. And I mean, I think there's all kinds of stuff, but to your point, if you look at what the player does and how often or how frequently they find themselves in certain situations, and you want to make that part a little bit better, you want to, it's different if you're working with someone who's established kind of what they are as a player, and you're not going to change how a guy skates if he's 25. But if you're, if you're working with a kid, you almost want to make sure that you don't tell them more than they need. A lot of it has to be discovered on their own. And that's what good coaches do. And that's what USA Hockey, I think, is ahead by probably a decade when it comes to that stuff. And I know, Andy, you're involved in youth hockey, so you probably see different things. But living up here in Toronto where I live, it's like, it's tough. Like, a lot of people care about winning, and a lot of coaches are. There's a lot of guys around this area that coach that played in like the East Coast League, and they're making money for these organizations to coach 10-year-olds, and they're looking at it like a start to their own coaching career.
Right.
And they want to win. And if they don't win, it means they're not a good coach. And that's not the way you develop athletes in any sport. But up here, it's like the parents want to win too. And unfortunately, a lot of times, I think the kids are the bottom of the importance totem pole, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And listen, some of that exists here as well. But all you have to look at is the first round of the recent OHL draft and see how many Americans were taken in the first round. I mean, it may be a record for most Americans taken ever. But listen, Patrick, I mean, we want to get into all that. I found it, interesting, and it's great to hear that you're doing some of that stuff now. But what else, man? I mean, you were doing your radio show. I was a guest on your show several times, and all of a sudden you just kind of disappeared. You went and worked for a team. We'll get into your whole story. I think a lot of people maybe know it. Some maybe don't know it. But
sure.
What have you been doing, Patrick, over the course of the last year or so?
Yeah, so, like I got into the media stuff kind of by accident. My book came out, I think at this point, it's 4 years ago, maybe 5 even. And at that point, I knew I kind of wanted to do some public speaking stuff and try to, raise awareness around the situation of domestic violence and just different stuff like that. And that's what I was starting to do. And at that same time, my publisher made me get a Twitter account. And
oh boy!
Yeah, exactly. I found that part of your conversation with Pens the other day pretty funny, Cam, as far as what you were saying. Like, there's just certain stuff it's not worth talking about on Twitter, and you can't explain yourself. It's very limited, and we all know that. But so I had never had any social media of any form before that. So I had basically just retired then, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I did the book, and then now I start tweeting about not just some of the stuff that I was trying to do with my book, but just hockey in general. And I started to accumulate a little bit of a following, nothing much. And then I was contacted by Darren Drager at TSN, who I'd known a little bit, but not much. And he was asking me where I was living. And at this point I was in Florida. And long story short, my wife's from the Toronto area, and I played junior here in the OHL. And we decided at that point to kind of move from Florida, where we were thinking about leaving at that point. Our kids were getting to the age where they were going to want to kind of do stuff, and where we were living was going to be a little bit limiting in some ways. So, they offered me a job doing radio at TSN, doing Leafs coverage. And there's the show called Leafs Lunch. I'm sure you guys know what that is. And it's on TV too. And so that was I just got thrown into the fire doing that. And my approach was I just said whatever I thought. Like that was the way I did it. And
oh yeah.
I think people liked it until, the Leaf stuff, it became something where they were like, hey, listen, and it was just one person, the program director, who, I know you guys work in radio and stuff, and I'm not saying it's this way for you guys, but sometimes a lot of times people making decisions and trying to give direction don't even know what they're looking at or what they're talking about, or like they don't watch the games and they just think there's a certain way that you need to be, and that's kind of all that they want. So I moved on from there because I didn't really want to be like a Leafs kind of fanboy. Like, they were starting to play really well. They were making the playoffs. They had all these young players, but there was obvious holes. Mm-hmm. And, like if the team plays bad, I wanted to talk about that and why and how it could be made better, and not just be negative the whole time, but kind of be more realistic. So, I moved on to Sirius XM, and I did a show there. After that, for I think it was a year and a half, 2 years.
Was that with Coolius?
No,
it was with
Scott Laughlin.
Scott Laughlin. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
did you like doing that? I mean,
I listened to you.
People seem to always have an opinion about you, good or bad. Players, media, fans, whatever, because you were so outspoken.
Yeah, I just tried to tell people what I thought. I feel like there's not enough of that in the media and hockey. Everybody's so buttoned up and so worried about offending someone, or like Cam, you would know as a player, if guys who are still playing, if you're honest and you approach things the right way, you can say something negative about your buddy if it's true. Anybody who's worth anything that's playing at that level, they realize and understand that that's part of the business, and you can be accountable. And I did like it. It just got to the point where I had put 2.5-3 years into it, and I couldn't get on TV. Up here, it's super competitive with that. There's a lot of former players, like we all know who they are in the Toronto area that are on. And Rogers was losing money, and they were firing people and not hiring people, and just got to the point where it wasn't worth me driving as far as I was to do the show, and I just kind of decided to move on. So it wasn't anything that I had really wanted to do in the first place. I was given an opportunity. I enjoyed it. I made the most of it. It just, at the end of the day, it just wasn't anything that I think was going to last long term for me.
What'd you do? Did you work for a hockey team? Did you work for somebody right after that? What was your next step?
Well, yeah. So to tie it back into the social media stuff, at that point, I even had a podcast for a couple months, and then I realized I was getting out of the hockey media. I started talking to a bunch of people in the NHL, some that I knew, GMs, some that I didn't. I can't really go into a ton of detail with it. Some of the stuff, like I've done consulting stuff with different organizations, and a lot of it was not so much a job per se, but along the lines of potentially being employed by someone in particular. And that's why I didn't want to be on Twitter. I wanted there to be a clear ending point to me as the media person. And that's what I felt like anybody who was following me on Twitter was looking at me as that. And I was sick of it too. And so that's why that kind of stopped. It wasn't anything crazy, but I started then at that point, I started working with some, like I run the player development for a youth organization here in Oakville. It's just outside Toronto. And I do my own stuff with the individual players. I've done stuff with the OHL team in Mississauga that my buddy is a coach and GM of. And I'm kind of at the point now where I'd like to expand that. Now it's tough around here because like you had Otzi on, and anybody who's really good is going to go to the Hall of Famer over somebody who had, like a career like mine. So I've taken the approach of finding the guys who, maybe can't afford to go to him. Like we're not going to he's expensive. Not cheap.
He's expensive.
Yeah.
And he wants to go to him. Like, you're fucking crazy.
I know you guys got the Stanley Cup bump, but I'm not sure you can maybe afford to work with him. And
we did get the little bump from Stanley Cup.
I'm trying to pass guys onto him so I can get a little commission. That's what I told him.
Yeah, I don't think he has. I don't think he has a tough time.
No.
Finding people to be interested, and I think he's really smart. Like I never played for him or anything, but like Cam, you obviously have, and anybody who has, he's almost. I feel like maybe this is why he didn't have as much success as a head coach.
Too smart.
He's almost yes.
Yes. Oh well, he's and he's super opinionated too.
You go off sides though, Patty. You go off fucking sides. Like shit happens. I'm not pulling my fucking groin, guys. Pull my groin. Like he's gonna bash you for that. You're not allowed to go off. Yeah. It all makes sense in a way. But he's also the kind of guy, just like Gretzky when he tried, probably. Like he's like, you're too smart.
Could you imagine if Brett Hall? If Brett Hall was a coach, one of these guys?
He was. Dallas. How that? Well, he was
a co-GM.
Co-GM, but he's fucking bashing guys. He's fucking bashing guys.
True story. One time, Brett Hall. It was a preseason game. He was sitting behind me in the press box, and he was a co-GM of the Dallas Stars. And he's just crushing everybody on the team.
Patty, it's horrible.
And I remember putting it on Twitter or maybe in a story that I wrote at the time. I said, hey, if anybody on the Dallas Stars wants to know what Brett Hall thinks about them, feel free to hit me up.
Jesus, Andy, you cause controversy like no other.
Well, he was crushing guys left and right, but it was hilarious to listen to, and he's hilarious. And I've been in rooms with him and Otzi where they're just talking. They obviously have just an unreal friendship and history together, and they just.
Yeah. But you're right, though.
They have their own way, man. They have their own way of seeing the game.
Smart. That's why people like to come to you. You might simplify. Not for the Connor McDavids where he probably knows, but you simplify it for a guy in juniors or just starting, or a guy like me,
But I couldn't imagine the competition for that though, Patrick, in Toronto. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, there's a lot of people who think they know what they're doing, but at a certain point, if you can't provide actual insight or value, you're just another jackass with an Instagram account. You know what I mean? So, I think. For me, I work with about 5 American League players, and I find that Cam, you and I both played at that level enough to know that there's really good players that just can't, for one reason or another, they can't figure out how to get to the NHL, or maybe they play like 6, 7, 10 games a year.
That's it.
And so there's another layer to helping guys, and I think. Like I find it fun. Like there's a couple guys that I look at, I kind of follow through the year, and we don't do a ton of video back and forth, but just knowing where they're at, and then like they come to skate in the summer, and I don't really want to know what they think. I'd rather have them listen to what my opinion is, because if you ask anybody, they can tell you what they think they need to work on, but it's hard to be objective about your own game. I mean, for me. It took me probably 2 years after I finished playing to really kind of see certain things that I did well, and areas where I didn't, and certain spots where I almost didn't think I needed to work on, and then you realize that you do. So, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting place to be, because you're not necessarily working for one entity full time, so you're not being controlled by anybody else's thoughts or opinions, and it's kind of like, if you can help, that ends up showing up in the games for these, whether they're kids or teenagers, or the pro guys, and you kind of what if you're good, it kind of speaks for itself, because it shows up in the improvement.
The Cam and Strick podcast is brought to you by CarShield. Nothing more frustrating, Cam, than when that engine light comes on and right off the bat you're gonna have to spend thousands of dollars to repair your vehicle. Call 800-857-2481. Mention the promo code CAM or visit carshield.com and use the code CAM to save 10%. Yeah. That's carshield.com. A deductible may apply. Save yourself money. Sign up and get your coverage now with carshield.com. Now back to the interview.
Yeah, for you, I think I always look at myself like any time I got sat out, it was always a reason for everything. I'm looking at you though, and how you grew up and how dominant you were when you were young. I remember playing against you in juniors. I tried to take your head off a couple times, but I think I ran into the boards 100 miles an hour. But you dominated, and you always dominated, and you were so good. And all of a sudden, like, you don't have any. Besides the personal stuff, like in the game, like it was everything came so easy for you. So afterwards, you kind of look back and are like, "Oh my God, I should have done this a little bit better," because you were just better than everybody else when you were a kid. Did that have an effect to it?
Yeah, well, I think you're touching on something that is for me, like, definitely something that existed from the standpoint of, maybe not that I dominated so much as a kid because, like, I was bigger or stronger or faster. I was none of those things, to be honest, right? Cam, the first time I remember playing against you was in the North American League.
Oh, yeah. I was USA, baby.
I was at the program, and you were playing for the Sting.
Yeah, God.
And, like, I wanted to bring that up. I don't know if you remember that or not, but we were like, this guy is an absolute lunatic.
I thought I was pretty normal.
You were not normal, Cam. Go look at your penalty minutes and how old you were compared to all the other nutcases in that league. Do you remember guys not wearing visors in that league?
There was 5 mutants on every team, and I had to wear that stupid-ass cage that had, like, hepatitis on my chin that cut me open every single fucking game when I hit somebody. No, we went through 150 players throughout that year in the Sting, man. It was crazy, but you guys were young and good, and, like...
Who else was on your USA team?
A couple guys.
Who
else?
Had
a couple guys on that team, I think.
Oh, our team was good. That was the same team, that core kind of like 10 guys that won. We won the World Juniors together.
Yeah.
We won under 18s, won under 17s. So Patrick Eves, Ryan Kessler,
Never heard of him.
Suter was on that team.
Oh.
Who else was on that team? It's funny because we didn't Mark Stewart, Matt Carl.
That's right.
Like some of those guys were quote unquote stars, but a lot of our players were like Zach Parisi would come for the tournaments. He wasn't at the program because he went to Shattuck where his dad was running the thing there. But kind of got sidetracked. That's what we were talking about. But that group, like really smart hockey players, and our coach was really good. It was Patrick's father, Mike Eves. So, like for me, I felt like growing up, I was good because I was smart and I worked on my game. And in junior, you end up playing, at least for me in the OHL, I don't know if you can identify with this at all, Cam, because you obviously played a different way than I did. But maybe for you, it's the same thing, just in different categories. But I found after 2 years in that league, it was like I wasn't getting any better.
No, yeah.
Like I wasn't being challenged because I had the puck the whole game. There weren't enough good players. And I know this will never happen, but if the ideal development path for most people, unless you're, the guy who can play in the NHL at 18, would be to play. I was ready to play in the American League at 18 without question.
I know you were.
And that it's just, and there's lots of guys like that. And I feel like and then we got screwed with the lockout and I had to stay another year and play junior. So from there, and then you enter the NHL, and then, so for me, I had a really good first 2 or 3, 4 years of pro. And then I kind of felt like I had proved that I could play. Now, the mental health aspect for me is always an underlying factor. And it was right around this age where I started to really feel the effects of how I grew up. It's funny, and people don't understand that. It's kind of like the older you get, the worse it gets unless you tend to that stuff. So I felt like I just stopped not caring, because I loved hockey as long as I played till the very end when it wasn't fun and I stopped. But I didn't work on getting better. Like I worked hard. Like I trained super hard in the summer. I was always in really good shape. I just didn't, some of the stuff, it's funny that I help guys with, like I didn't necessarily maybe believe or understand that you could continue to get better when you're 24 years old.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's kind of the root of it for me. Like if you want to, here's the truth about this is how I feel about my own career. If you look at my skill set and I believe like my hockey sense and the rest of it, I didn't get nearly as much as I could have out of that stuff. But that's not the only thing that necessarily matters. And for me, I had a bunch of things away from hockey that were never dealt with that I had to deal with, and I couldn't do both, and it definitely affected my play. And you combine that with not continuing to pursue to get better. And then also when I got traded from LA to Edmonton, it completely like just destroyed me. We were getting better. A couple years later, they end up winning the cup, and and it's like I go to Edmonton, and Pens was talking about this the other day. We were awful, the worst team in the league. Bad coaching.
You guys were fucking terrible.
It's a joke. It was a joke. And hey, by the way, I'm the first guy to admit this too. At that point, like I'm like this is
fuck.
Like I'm being misused. I'm not playing in the role that I should be. Blah blah blah. Everybody's got those excuses as a player, right? But like our team's partying. Like I honestly, the most fun I ever had off the ice was that same year. That was the worst maybe on the ice for me in my
It's funny how that works. I'm not surprised to hear that
know.
As a guy who never played
you.
in the NHL. I'm not surprised to hear that because I've covered terrible teams here in St. Louis, and those were some of the most fun teams to cover because guys were having so much fun off the ice, and you see them out and stuff. But listen, Patrick, like I said, some of our listeners, they know your stories. Some people don't.
Sure.
What's the best way to summarize your upbringing, man? You had an abusive father, and I don't know where you're at with him now, but he eventually went to jail. I mean, just describe what you went through that led to you eventually writing a book about it.
Yeah, so like I basically from age 6 until 16, I was abused physically by my dad, and most of it, I would say 95% of it, was like connected to or based around hockey. Like he thought I was not any good and that I was soft and this and that. And like, that's what I heard every day. So, basically, like he was physically abusive, like I said, but I also had to do like extreme workouts. And like, I used to walk home or run home from the rink all the time. I'm talking miles and miles, and just like super abusive situation to be in. So that's one of the things I talk about with these kids. And there's a lot of them here that start skating when they're like 2-3 years old, and they're on the ice like 15 times a week, and they're really good. And they're like 8, but are you good because you've skated every day since you were 3, or are you good because like the kid loves it? And like, either way, you don't know at age 8, but there's these people that are just crazy with their kids. And I don't mean like abusive, but I'm just saying like my point was going to be that if all it took to be the best player of all time was ice time and working out and stick handling, then I don't imagine anyone's ever done more than me. And, half the time I didn't want to be doing it, and that's why it didn't help. Right? Like, I was only a good player because I loved hockey, and when I was by myself away from my dad, that's what I wanted to do to get better. And it's the same story for most guys who make it. So like, I don't know how I found hockey enjoyable, because all the negative stuff that was happening to me was surrounding that. Like, I played 2 years up my whole life. Now, I grew up mostly in Detroit, and that's not the same as playing 2 years up in Toronto, but I was a good player. And I was constantly told that I wasn't. And that, to me, kind of connects into that age range we were just talking about for me, when I'd made it. I scored 20 goals in the league, 50 points, blah, 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 signed a nice little contract. And it's like, well, I just proved, to me, and not in a direct way to my father, but at the same time, like, basically I got to the point where I thought at no point could anyone tell me that I wasn't a really good hockey player. You know what I mean? And from there, mentally, things kind of deteriorated in a number of ways. But, basically, to take it back to my childhood, I think part of writing the book was just to explain that, this happens a lot, and 99.9% of the time, the kid doesn't go anywhere. Because that's why you don't hear about these stories, because they never turn out in a fact. Like, the only reason I was able to write a book was because I played in the NHL, and people knew me from winning the gold medal. Like, the guy who's a doctor that goes through the same thing that I did doesn't get to write a book. Nobody's interested in that. So
stories aren't.
I wanted to, I wanted to share the story, and that's how the book came about. And from there, I've done.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was just saying, like, from there, I've been able to do public speaking and all kinds of stuff like that. I didn't necessarily think about doing when the book started, but it's been great to kind of see that helping kids currently maybe going through it, but also there's a lot of adults who experience something like this as a kid that have contacted me after the fact, and you don't realize how much of that stuff exists.
Give us give me an example of how he was as a child. I mean, was it just fucking horrifying where he'd give you that look? Because I remember watching a couple things today of you when you're giving speeches and you're talking, doing an interview, and you're like, I have a game that night, I come down, sit for breakfast, and your dad would look at you and say, you better fucking play good tonight or you know what's coming. Like, why? Why, though? Why?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you'd have to dive into the mental state of my father, maybe, to get an exact answer on that. Like the why. Clearly, I think he was one of those people. I remember this as a kid. He was always complaining that he never got it. So he played hockey. He played. I don't even know. I guess the league doesn't exist anymore, but maybe the equivalent of the East Coast League. So that's as high as he got in hockey. And I think he saw that I had potential, I think, as a kid. And he was going to make me, and again, this is in his mind, not what actually happened, but in his mind, he's going to show everybody that he's smart and that he got screwed in his own career.
Oh, we've all heard that fucking story. Yep. Go ahead.
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I think that was the genesis of the psychotic behavior. And, I don't know, like, it's insane to think that, so my oldest kid is 8, or sorry, 9, just turned 9. And so at this point, when I was his age, it was starting to get pretty serious. Like, he used to kick and punch me and stuff almost on a daily basis. And I can't imagine A, doing that at all, but B, thinking, hey, you know what? This is what's going to make my kid a better athlete. Like, isn't that insane?
Did you ever, when he pulled this shit, and you're starting to get a little bit older, you ever think about, I'm gonna motherfuck this guy? He's torturing me. You're putting me into a corner. Like, did you ever say, like, I'm gonna have to fight back here, and like fight back with a weapon or something that I could show him? You fucking do this to me one more time, I'm gonna hurt you. Did that ever come about? Like, did you talk to your mom? Did you talk to anybody and say, this guy's out of control? Even, and I'm sorry, this is a long-winded question, but I'm curious. Even your coaches and he's in the fucking stands, he's banging on the glass, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking get. Like, did you look at your coaches like, help me here?
Yeah, well, I'll get to the second part of that first. I think growing up, for sure, people thought, well, he's such a good player, it can't be that bad. Now, people knew my old man was nuts.
Yeah.
But we moved around so much, and I was never on the same team for longer than a year.
Yeah, okay.
So, and that's like a normal behavior for people who do what my father was doing, because he's smart enough to know that, like, eventually if you're around long enough, people are going to catch on, and then you get caught, and then you're done, right? So when I was young, I think people knew, but not certainly not to the serious extent. The older I got, like when I was at the U.S. program, there's a couple of things that they saw, and I know one of the coaches confronted my dad and basically, didn't do enough in my opinion, but said, if you keep doing this, like, something bad is gonna happen, and for sure you're gonna lose your kid. Like, you're not gonna have a relationship with him at all. So to answer the first part of your question, yeah, like by the time I'm 13, I'm starting to realize this is really
not right.
This is really screwed up. When you're a little kid, you don't necessarily know that other kids aren't also experiencing that. So once you approach the age of like 13, and you're starting to understand the way the world works a little bit, you realize at that point that this is clearly not going to stop anytime soon. And like, not to get into my mother either too much, but she did nothing either and saw most of the stuff that went on. And so I knew. Are
they still together, Patrick?
No.
Okay.
So, and then Andy, I know you mentioned earlier, like, I haven't talked to my dad in almost 20 years at this point. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where he is. I'm not interested in that, in knowing, or certainly not having a relationship or anything else with him. So, like, I knew, yeah, like, so Cam, basically, long story short, at some point I knew I was going to do something. Like, one of us were probably going to die if it continued. Yeah. And I was just kind of waiting until the right time where I felt like physically comfortable enough to potentially have to fight until something, and one of us, like, I wasn't going to stop. And it took me till I was about 16, and I played the first half of my first season in the OHL dealing with this. And then finally we came back after a game and I ended up getting into a fight with my dad in front of his parents. And that was kind of like the last straw. But at that point I was ready to go. I had mentally prepared for like 2 hours, basically ripped me off the team bus in Ottawa, drove back to Toronto where his parents live. And that whole time I'm like, as soon as we get out of the car, I'm like, this is it. Like, this is, I'm not doing this anymore. Either I'm going to fight and run away and get to a phone or something. So anyways, that ends up happening. And I think he was kind of surprised that I was, like, up until then, it's kind of like you just avoid it or fight back enough till it stops. And then you just kind of move on. At this point, I was full on ready to go. And I've had a ton of fights off the ice. I never had to fight much on the ice. I didn't fight in the NHL. I fought a couple of times in the American League. But in junior Cam, I mean, you know how it was. Guys like me, we had to fight. I had to fight Mike Richards asked me to fight every time we played. Like, why are we doing this? But that's how it was back then.
Because he's playing 35 minutes just like you. And he's like, fuck this, I'm going your fucking out.
So Patrick, so when your dad pulled you off the team bus, though, this is in the OHL.
I know. People go crazy.
What's the coaching staff doing when this is happening in management? They let this happen?
This kind of falls, I put this into the category of, like, just I was always in. I don't want this to sound like I kind of got screwed in any way from this standpoint, but I always felt like I was in situations that weren't favorable when it came to like what I needed from a coaching standpoint, or like people who should have been looking out for my best interest just couldn't seem to do it. So if you want to trace that back to like when I was a kid and then moving up, and then now I'm into junior, and I'll come back to that in a second, but then even into the NHL, like all these people knew my story. It's the reason I fell to the bottom of the second round in the draft.
Yeah.
And I got almost no help or interest from anybody at any point, you know, in my NHL career. And then I get to Edmonton and I start to realize that I'm asking for help at that point. And they're like, they don't know what to do. And they're like, oh, you need to speak to a sports psychologist. And I'm like, that's not what I need. I need something else. And,
hug.
you know, so I need like an actual, like a life psychologist, not a sports one. This isn't about the power play and why I can't hit the net, or like this. It's bigger than
why's
that.
my
right?
toe drag not work?
But listen, I was at the draft in 2003. It was a huge story. Everyone was talking about it, and that was the year you were drafted. And you know, rumor had it that your dad was inside the building. They had the NHL. They hire private security for you and whoever else was in your entourage at the time. Did you ever see your dad at the draft?
Yeah. Like I want to say this too, because it was touching on the last question there. My coach, my first year, was Don Cherry.
Oh yeah.
So I don't want to speak ill of the guy. Like he's had his own, you know, his downfall, and that is what it is. How much what you think of that is up to you as an individual. But
we love him, by the way. We love him.
And he's an older guy, and I think deep down he's you know, I don't think he should have said what he said, but I don't believe he's a bad person.
No, I get it.
And I got to know him fairly well that year, but my point is that that organization was ill-equipped to handle anything remotely close to what was going on with me.
Okay.
So, and Andy, that's why no one did anything. It was like, well, what's going on? Now, also, I'm the best player on the team, and I'm like third in the league in scoring, and all this other stuff's going on. So that underlying factor of, well, it can't be that bad, or otherwise how is he doing so well? So I think that was part of it. But, you know, at the draft, my dad did show up. I had a restraining order, but it was only in Canada, because that's where I charged him. That's where he was in jail for a month or two, whatever it was. And then so he was able to go to the States, and he was able to attend the draft. Now I have a picture. It's in my book, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. It's me, and I was assigned 2 security guards by the NHL because, again, this was known, and everyone was sure that he was going to show up. And he did, and he sat like right across from where I was. So obviously that's planned. Like he wanted me to know that he was there for that. And I got to be honest, like at the time, I didn't care. Like it didn't bother me nearly as much as it did anyone else. I was so happy to be free, and I felt like there was nothing he had over me at that point, and I knew he wouldn't anymore going forward. Now, you know, it was a weird thing at the draft when you think you're going to go on the first day, and back then it was only the first round and the first day, and then everyone went home. So, no, it was the first 2 rounds, I think. Anyways, whatever. I sat there for a long time, and
horrible feeling, by the way. Horrible feeling, by the way. Is that not the fucking worst thing in the world? Dude, it's horrible.
It is. It is. I mean, looking back at it, to be even in the top 2 rounds in that draft, I probably went right where.
Oh, one of the best drafts ever.
But when you're sitting there and your agent tells you one thing, and you're like, oh, maybe they will forget about me.
There was so much going on in that draft, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a you know, we all know, like, it's probably the deepest draft. Like, for sure, there's maybe not 5 superstars in it, but there's got to be 15 guys that play 1,000 games from that draft. And, you know, like, you just go look at it. We can, you know, we don't need to talk about how good it was, but yeah, so just that's kind of like and I got drafted by Minnesota, who, you know, at the time, Jacques Lemaire is a coach, and Mario Tremblay is his assistant. Doug Risebrough is a GM. Now, this is like, Cam, you remember, like 2003, like it's old. That's old school still.
Yeah,
like,
still hooking and clutching, baby.
Yeah, and but like also too, from the way that just everything is handled. So Brent Burns was our first pick. I was the second pick. And yeah, so it was the first 2 rounds on like a Friday, and then the rest of it was Saturday during the day. So they took us to dinner or something, and then it was like, see you later the next morning. Like there was no questions about my situation. We had I think we had a rookie camp, but there was no like player development. I swear to God, I talked to maybe one person in 2 years playing in the OHL after I was drafted from the Wild. Like it just didn't. I don't think that was rare.
No, you're on your own.
Kind of how it was.
You're on be pre-lockout. I remember getting drafted, and I get picked up in a limo, and you go. But that night, I remember one of the scouts bought my dinner, but I had no money on me. So then the next night, I'm like, what the fuck do I do? So I ate cereal in the hotel, and I got fucking food poisoning. I ate cereal for dinner, and I got food poisoning the next day.
Food poisoning.
Lost 15 pounds. It's actually for the best. But yeah, it's old school. It's just completely different. Now they're all taken care of. Everything's organized. It was a different world back then, and you couldn't you don't feel comfortable enough to go to somebody and be like, look, do you have anybody I could just talk to? I've had a fucking tough time. Like that's hard to even do that.
Yeah, but also you're asking an 18-year-old to be self-aware enough to do that. Like I didn't think I needed that at that point, but what I needed was, and maybe this is where my mother really dropped the ball, is that like someone needed to tell me like, hey, listen, if it's not a problem now, it's probably going to be in the future, and you need to start like addressing this. And that just never happened at any point. And I'm sure, I'm not blaming anyone else. Like there were times where like I probably should have taken the step to do it myself, but it's tough. And during the season, I guess that's kind of what I would say is that during the season, it's hard to survive doing anything but like just trying to feel better day after day to play and practice. Right, Cam? Like imagine trying to write a book or go to like take a class, or in my case, it would have been like I needed intensive therapy. Like it just wasn't going to happen, and I knew that. So it's almost like I put it off until it was too late, and kind of I ended up robbing myself, I think, of probably another 4 or 5 years of playing that I wish, like if my mental state was what it was, like if I could play mentally like I am now, I'd probably still be playing.
Oh,
probably not in the NHL maybe, but my point being, like I had to completely stop hockey and disconnect from so many people that I wish I didn't, but it's like I didn't know what else to do. It was like survival mode. And that's when I started the whole therapy thing. And, like it's a good lesson and now they have so much more things like that available to them, and the guys are getting checked up on and the rest of it. But for me, it's just bad timing for when I play. Like if I was young now, I think I would have been way better off.
Cam and Strick podcast here for our boy Dan Bellman with Bellman.com.
Yeah, baby.
You need some new wheels? Why not get a Cadillac, a Buick, a GMC? Head out to Troy today. And again, don't forget about Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram right across the street.
No doubt.
Right there in Troy, Missouri. Visit them online. Check out their new selection, the pre-owned selection, the best service you will find anywhere in the country. Bellman.com. BEHLMANN.com. Get yourself some new wheels in time for the summer.
Yeah.
Now back to the interview.
I get it. The shit I know now, I look back, I'm like, holy fuck. That's why I always say, like, man, every mistake, every time you set out, like, there's always a reason for it. And But man, like, you stopped playing at 28. Like, were you just like, fuck this game? Like, I can't take it anymore. And did you see was your dad going to some of these NHL games? And if he did, and he saw you in the stands, did you give him that look like "fuck you" or
when's the last time you talked to him?
Yeah.
Was it when you got in a fight inside at your grandparents' house?
Well, yeah. Like I mean, I guess I have not had a conversation with him since that point. Now, there's been a handful of times. Maybe that's more. I'll say I'm just off the top of my head. 2 times between 16 and the end of my playing career where, like in the American League, to no surprise, it's much easier to get down by the ice and by the locker rooms than it is in the NHL. So when I was in the NHL, I didn't see him at all. Like there's no way that that guy's getting down past security and the rest of it. So I'll just mention the one time that it kind of shook me a bit was I was in Houston the second time. So towards the end, when they sent me and a couple older guys down for the playoffs in the American League when I was in Minnesota. And we ended up going all the way to the finals. Another league that I lost in the finals, and thanks for the first time, Cam, in the OHL. That was great.
Anytime, buddy. I scored a fucking important goal, baby. It is what it is.
I was looking at that roster the other day. You guys were good. Like, I know that London group
they were good
was supposed. Yeah, that obviously the year after that, when you and I were gone, they went on that ridiculous run. But like, you know. So, anyways, to get back to what we were talking about, like, I see him after a game. This is in Binghamton. This is in the finals. It's like Game 5. It's like, I forget where, what the series was at or whatever. But it's just like, honestly, the most fun I'd had playing in a long time. And like, he's just standing there when I'm walking out of the rink.
Oh God.
And I'm
like the Grim Reaper.
It's not. Yeah,
Wow.
like it didn't even say anything. Like,
How many years had you been pro when this happened? Like, how old are you now?
I don't know, 6, 7.
Okay.
6, 5 or 6, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, like, and I'm sure he'd been to other games. Like, my first year pro, I played in Houston, and I played the entirety of that year in the American League. And like, I'm sure he was going to a lot of games when he could. I just didn't know or didn't see. But at no point has he ever tried to have a conversation or anything like that. Like, I think he knows what would happen, or certainly that, like, I don't, you know, I wouldn't. That said, like, I've gotten Twitter direct messages from this guy, like, hey, I'm trying to find your sister. I can't find her. Like, and then he'll leave me his cell phone number. And then, like, this is creepy. Like, hugs and kisses. Like,
Man.
Just a.
Can I ask you a personal question? Can I ask you something personal?
Sure.
Like, seriously. Do you ever sit back and say, I want this fucking guy dead. Like, I can't take it anymore. He's fucking scaring me. He's showing up at places. He's kicked the shit out of me my whole goddamn life. Like, I will fucking kill this guy. Did that ever cross your mind? I mean, I know that's hardcore. I'm sorry, but, like, fuck. He put you into a fucking corner.
No, I mean, I think to answer your question, yeah, absolutely it did, because there, you know, before all this stuff ended and I ended up getting the police involved, like, that's kind of where it was at. I was ready. If that's what it was going to take to end the situation, then I guess that's what I was going to have to do. Like, it's not like I was the person initiating any of this stuff.
Exactly.
So, like, you know, like, it doesn't cross my mind at this point in my life. Like, I feel like I did enough. And I've had enough. Like, my wife's been great with it, and enough people have helped me along the line, and I searched it out and put the work in when I stopped playing to get to the point where it doesn't dominate my day-to-day life. I rarely think about it at all, to be honest.
Good, man. Good.
I mean, it's you know, I'll be honest about this too, though. Like, there's sometimes I'm at the rink and, like, I'll smell like a cleaning product that they clean the glass with.
No, bring it back.
Yeah, and that, you know, that happens with, you know, everybody can understand that, like, smells and music
Little
and stuff like that.
Yep,
Yeah.
especially at the rink, man. Especially at rinks like
So
that.
and a lot of those are, I think people associate them with happy stuff, and I have those too. But I'm giving you an example of something that he may enter my mind, or how I grew up, you know, may enter my mind. But that's why, you know, like, the one thing I really like about my kids asked me to play hockey. Like, it's not, I never showed, like, they didn't even know I played until they started to like it themselves. And of course, at that point, you know, they see a jersey or one of my old sticks or whatever, and then that whole thing starts. But I've enjoyed giving them what I never got in hockey, but also other kids, and being aware of, like, not the lunatic person like my father is too far gone. You can't pull that guy aside and have a normal conversation.
Fuck no, he's donezo, dude.
And say something like, hey, listen, like, I think maybe if you just calm down a little bit, your kid will have a better experience, and so will you. But there are a lot of those people, especially where I live, that are super into their kids' hockey, and they're yelling instructions. And Like, you can pull some of those people aside and they can look in the mirror a little bit and they stop doing what they're doing. And I've had a lot of people come up to me after, like 2 months later, and be like, hey, listen, thanks for mentioning that. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize what they're doing. And so from that standpoint, like, I've tried, on top of the public speaking stuff that I've done, like, you try to add some of the stuff you've learned and help other people when it's applicable, because I think there's a lot of people, especially when their kids are young, like, you can realize the stupid stuff you're doing and kind of back off. And, like, if you can help some of those people, then that's great.
So let me ask you this, and then we'll move on, Patrick. But
sure.
Like, when you're coming out and you're sharing all these stories publicly, like, and I know you said he sent you some direct messages, but did anybody from his camp ever reach out to you and be like, hey, you got to stop saying all this type of stuff? Or you just never had any conversation with him about it? And is there anything that you can say, though, that because listen, personally, there's a similar situation, not same as yours, but I will say this about my dad. I don't talk to him anymore, but I don't know if I have passion for the game of hockey if it wasn't for him. So he got me into the game. Is there anything that your dad did that you can say, you know what, at least he's helped me have a career in the game of hockey and whatever, or do you not give him any credit whatsoever, Patrick?
No, I mean, I think I would have been, I'll just put it this way, like, I would have been a way better player if I just had someone drive me to the rink and take me home.
Okay.
Yep. It's like my daddy.
Yeah, I mean, like, from this, like, did my dad teach me anything about the game? Yeah, like, if you go and look, I think I'm fairly high all-time shootout percentage in the NHL. Mm-hmm. And it's because it almost did the same kind of, we've all seen the low blocker move that a lot of left-handed guys use.
Right. Yeah, I do it all the time.
And that's something I learned.
You're
really
a righty, Cam.
Oh, yeah.
It works for righties too. So that's something I learned. If you want, I give my father credit for that, telling me to shoot 1.5 feet off the ground. But I think most 9-year-olds know that now.
Come on, I was going to say, fuck that. You would have figured that out yourself. All right, you're not giving him credit for that. Fuck that. You would have figured that shit out yourself.
Yeah, somebody would have told you that.
One last one. Go ahead. Finish your point.
Let
Go
him
ahead.
finish.
No, I was just going to say, like, I saw apparently that as it goes, I mean, how do I know? I was 4 or 5 years old when this happened, but I was watching, hockey was on the TV, and I took interest in it before, and I think that's when the crazy switch went off in my dad's head. Like, this, I haven't showed him this at all. He's interested in it on his own. Because I was living in North Carolina. Like, that's where I lived as a kid.
First one ever, baby. First one ever.
No, there was somebody else.
No. He was the first one ever to make it to the NHL from North Carolina and play for the Carolina Hurricanes. Trust me, I know how that feeling is,
Did you ever
baby.
play for the Hurricanes? They traded you before you played for them,
Yeah, but he still signed for them.
No, that's another
Fuck, I fucked that up, didn't I?
Listen to this. I don't know that certainly don't have any other records in the NHL than maybe this one, but I was with, other than LA, every organization I was with 2 different times, and half those times I didn't play, but they were through trades. Oh, so God. I did play for Carolina for like two months. I didn't look. Ben Smith, who played for the Blackhawks, and I think he won 1 cup with them. Anyways, he grew up there at a certain. I didn't really play hockey there, so I'm not going to take credit for that. Like, I did learn to skate. I might have played 1 year house league or something, and then I moved to Michigan and Toronto, back and forth. So I'm not going to steal credit from that, but I think, like, I really believe that everything he did made me worse in some shape or form. I was always tired. I was always like, you don't get better at anything unless you really enjoy it. And there was probably half the time, just because I was scared or tired or hungry as a kid, that I didn't enjoy playing hockey. So to think that I was able to do what I did with the circumstance, like, I think if I had a normal childhood, I had all the drive that anyone would have needed on my own to get anywhere with it. So, I mean, that's a question you'll never have the answer to, and I don't spend much time worrying about it.
No, that's good.
But I've had a lot of people ask me that, Andy, and I know, like, because I think people have a tough time, someone that you despise or that maybe you've been able to let go of that, but someone in your life that you should be really connected to and you're not for some reason or another, you only want to feel negatively about them. And I think sometimes people do have positive things that they could, assign to that person as it relates to their life. But I mean, for me, it started, the negativity and violence started so young for me that I don't have much positive to say in any way.
You mentioned Dan Carcillo in your Players Tribune story. Are you guys tight? What's your relationship with him?
I used to be. He was in my wedding party.
Wow.
Look, like, I think he's had some difficulties with concussion issues, and from there, I think he's lost friends and stuff too, and I think like he's chosen, without going personal, because I'm not going to do that. I don't think it helps anybody. Certainly, it doesn't help. I don't need to talk about it, and I don't need to speak ill of him to prove anything or bring up stuff that other people don't need to know. But like, I think he's chosen to take a route which might be positive. Like, the route, I guess, of what he's trying to do is good. I just really don't like the way he's gone about it.
Right.
I think he's burned a lot of bridges that could have been helpful. I think he's taken a very combative stance with hockey people that has been. I don't follow the guy day to day, but I don't even talk to him anymore, if we're being honest. But like,
well, it gets lost in translation, man. It's all about how you present your.
I mean, like I probably feel similarly about him now as you guys do. Like, kind of confused. I don't know exactly what he's trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have any. Like, I think. I know him so well that I feel like he's not being honest with everything. Like, you want to talk about like not like there. He refuses to say anything positive about the game, and I have a tough time with that. I really do. Like, I played junior with him, and like, like I don't really know what else to say about that situation. I think what he's trying to do is admirable. I really dislike, for the most part, how he's gone about it, and I think he's lost allies that could have helped him because of it. I guess that's the best way I could sum it up.
And we had him on and everything too, and I always say, like, hockey's probably saved me. A guy like me that was wild as a kid, like, fuck the sport. Yeah. It helped me. Like, it did. My parents were great about it, and I'm lucky for that. But man, it gave me something. It gave me something to like strive for, like that's it. Fuck, I
something to keep you focused.
Something my personality. I can let my personality out on the ice. I mean, that's really what it was.
I think you got to have some kind of personal accountability as well. Yeah. Like, I have a lot of negative stuff to say about a couple people that I encountered in pro hockey, and I've done that already. Like, that's. And it's funny because,
hey, let's do it again, Patrick. Who were they?
Who?
Mark Crawford.
I'll tell you who I hate.
Mark Crawford may have been one.
Mark Crawford. That guy's not. I mean, maybe he's changed. I find it hard to believe. I was involved in that investigation they did with him, and I mean, I knew right away. 10 seconds into the phone call I had with the lawyer, like, this guy's not going anywhere. And I'm not saying that I think he should have been fired or not. But it was like they were doing research, just seeing if anything had crossed the line, and they had to get rid of him. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't like it was like a fact-finding mission, not a let's get the real story kind of a situation. But I'm not even really referring to him. I was so young when I came across him that, like, that's more day-to-day at the rink as a hockey player. Like, just an awful way to handle anybody that you want to be successful. But I'm talking when I got older, when I was in Edmonton and I was starting to ask for help and I was seeking therapy, and like, I didn't get what I needed, but I'm not going to blame my entire life on that. Like, I'm not going to blame everything negative that may have not happened to me in hockey on hockey and these so-called, like, what I don't like is people who just shit on hockey culture as if, and most of the people doing it don't even know what it is, right? And that's one of the things I found difficult on social media. It's like, and it's not even worth talking about. There's no way to have a proper conversation on that medium.
It's because it's all over the place. I said broad the other day on the podcast, and hockey culture. I'm like, fuck, I just fucked up. Even Kate gave me a look, and I won't say anymore. Fine. But then they tie it into the hockey culture. I'm like, this hockey culture saved me.
Well, it was Carcillo who tied it in. Let's be honest.
I know. Did he tweet about it?
Oh, yeah, because they were putting that on Twitter and stuff. So
I fucked up. I won't say it anymore. Sorry.
So all right. So listen, and I know you've given us a lot of time, Patrick. We appreciate that.
Thanks,
so,
man.
but listen, your kids are going to grow up. They're going to read about your story. You have a book out. What do you want your kids to know about your life growing up?
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting question. I think at some point they're gonna know, like, at least what had happened. They're gonna read the book, so or at least they're gonna be able to read the book. I don't know if they'll want to, or I'm certainly not gonna ask them to do it. But one would assume that they probably will. So I think they thus far have asked why they don't see, like, my wife's parents and siblings and stuff are very involved in their lives, and they have asked why they don't see anyone from my family, and we've basically told them that my parents weren't good people and that I don't talk to them anymore, and that's the extent of it. So I think when you feel like you're at the age of the ability to take in the information and process it the right way, then you kind of fill them in, and you give them what they want. I mean, it's not like I'm going to sit them down and tell them all this stuff. It's kind of like whatever you want to know, I'll gladly tell you and explain it. And
tell them, hey, read the book.
Read a book.
Go buy one.
Go buy the book. Hey, those have long been being ceased to produce. And here's another thing I'll tell you. People used to chirp me on Twitter all the time, like when I'd say something not controversial but opinionated. They'd be like, oh, what are you trying to sell, books? And I'd always be like, listen, if you knew anything about books, or unless you're Stephen King, your people aren't writing books because they're making a ton of money on it. It's like one of those things where I didn't get into it to make money on it, and like, if that's what your goal is as a writer, any legitimate writer, which I don't claim to be because someone else physically wrote the book, but anybody like that will tell you that, like, that's not why you get into it. But as far as my kids go, like, I plan to inform them as they need to be informed, and I'm willing to go as deep, and I'm sure that as deep as they want to go on any of the topics. Like, I don't imagine that's going to be a pleasant situation. Like, you avoid, and that's one thing I've learned about emotional trauma, more so than the physical stuff, which you can get by a lot easier, is that you don't realize when or where that's kind of going to show up. It kind of jumps out in your life in spots where maybe you wouldn't think. And that's part of what I did therapy wise, was like to prepare yourself for those scenarios. It's not always like cut and dry and right out there in front of you. So I don't imagine that those conversations with my kids will be, enjoyable, but look, it's part of my life. And I knew right away when I didn't get drafted where I was supposed to go, quote unquote, I knew this was going to be something that was going to follow me whether I liked it or not. So that's why back then I chose to do the story in ESPN magazine. That's why I've tried to, I didn't like it, excuse me, so much as a player, constantly being asked by, like, I'm in the NHL. Can we just talk about that instead of, but
talk about a backhand toe drag.
Here we are. Talk about scoring 47 goals as a rookie in the American League.
Oh, shit.
Well, yeah, whatever. But, like, I understand, though, that, like, if you certainly choosing to write a book about it, you better be ready to talk about it. Right. And you better be able to deal with the good, the bad. And, like, I've had people, NHL players, be like, hey, listen, maybe, like, you're, like, I've had people tell me to go talk to like go talk to my dad, and they didn't like what I did with the book, and like I went about it the wrong way and stuff. So like to think that you're also like just people,
Tell me,
and
shut
oftentimes those people have the same issues, right? And they don't know how to process it or whatever, and people handle everything their own way. Long story short, I know you're trying to get rid of me, but like it's just one of those things you got to learn to deal with. And so far, I've done a decent job, and my hope is that certainly with my kids, I'll be suited to handle that situation, and if I can't do it, then I'll get them someone who can.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you this real quick though. No, we're not trying to get rid of you. I'm trying to get rid of Andy.
I'm trying to get rid of Cam. Cam, I mean,
I'll say this.
I need therapy after sitting next to Cam and doing this. Let's be honest.
I was expecting more swearing from both of you.
I've been a good boy today. I've been a good boy today. No, I've been good.
I've had a talk with Cam about this.
I know.
And, I feel like you got a good message. Kids may listen to it. So you know what? We're just
I'll chill. I'm good.
We're just hey.
I'm dynamic, Patty.
His over under is about 20 F-bombs per episode, and I think he's under today. So.
I got riled up a little bit with your dad.
He was great.
With the dad stuff, I got riled up a little bit.
Hey, did guys chirp you on the ice? That's my last thing for you. Did guys chirp you on the ice during your career about your upbringing?
No, only one guy, which is Burrows. And to be honest, I think
you can get him back.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it right when I started doing media, and it kind of, as things do on social media, it kind of got portrayed in a way that I didn't really want necessarily.
Yeah. I hear that.
Like I think that guy was a scumbag, Cam. You can attest to that. To anybody who played against that guy hated his guts. I think a lot of people who've played with him like him. So if like from that standpoint, it's not like I hold anything against the guy. I mean, it was a to me, I felt like there's like say anything else but that. Like you can't make fun of somebody for something like that because I don't have like a fair chance.
You had no control over it. You had no control over it.
Right.
That's not domestic violence. That's not D-dubs or anything like that. No, you have no control over this, man. So it's hard to trip somebody for that.
I was a child, but I speared him a couple times, and I've had a couple buddies that have gone after him once they knew that on like different teams. So I feel like that stuff, it comes out in the wash. And no, I mean, I had enough other like legitimate stuff to chirp me about, so they didn't need to rely on that one.
Well, thanks for doing that. Listen, man, all the best. It sounds like you're doing good.
Yeah, man.
Great, actually.
Sound positive.
Yeah. And you're a great father. You got a great marriage going on.
Got great hair.
Based off of what we know. Cam disappointed you because he gave you a C effort today.
What the fuck are you talking about?
He didn't give you an A effort.
I busted my ass in this.
Okay, now he is. Now he's getting angry. We like that. So we appreciate that, man. All the best, and we'll do it again. And thanks for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to you. Keep it going.
Thanks, Patty. Keep in touch, buddy. Keep in touch, man.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Right on, big boy.
See you, boys.
And I hope you enjoy Patrick O'Sullivan. Crazy story, man, and a great story. He is truly a success story, and we appreciate Patrick O'Sullivan joining us here on the Cam and Strick podcast. Reminder, that interview brought to you by our friends over at CarShield.
Oh, baby.
You better get that protection, Cam.
Oh.
Because you need it in the worst way. 800-857-2481. Mention the code CAM. So listen, all our listeners out there, you got to sign up.
Yeah.
You got to sign up.
It's easy. CAM. Right? Is that how it's spelled?
That's what it is right now.
Yeah.
That's what it is right now.
Well, what's going to be Andy?
Who
the hell is Andy? Andy who?
We may have
Andy
to change it. We may have to change it.
Get on with yourself. It's CAM. CAM.
Mention the code CAM and use that promo code to save 10%. How about that?
Yeah,
you save money.
That's what I do for people.
It's the only time Cam will actually ever deliver and do anything for you.
I spend more money.
800-857-2481. Mention the code CAM, CarShield, and make sure you are protected. I mean, they've saved people millions of dollars.
Millions. It's the easiest thing in the world. Check them out. CAM, C-A-M.
Yes. And so, again, you talk about problems you've had with vehicles in the past. You don't want those problems with your vehicles. Make sure you're taken care of and you're protected with our friends over at CarShield. Bellman.com. Get yourself a set of new wheels.
Oh, baby.
They got the Buick, Cadillac, GMC right across the street, Cam. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Troy, Missouri. Again, check them out online, Bellman.com. Get yourself a set of new wheels for the upcoming summer. And, of course, Cope24.com. Our girl, Renee Howitt.
Renee.
What up, Renee?
She is.
We know you're listening, girl.
We love you, girl. We love you. We love you. She does great work.
Changing our parenting experience.
Yep.
We're going to have a big event once
are.
we get through this whole corona.
Take care of
And we're going to invite all our listeners out there to come hang out with us with a big event coming up with Cope24.com. Again, they are impacting young people, doing some great stuff here, not just here in St. Louis where we are.
Everywhere, man.
But everywhere.
Everywhere. That's what they
Throughout
do.
the country.
That's what they
International.
do. Good work.
Patrick O'Sullivan, man, what do you take out of that conversation
I wanted
there,
to bag
Patty?
his dad up from the get-go,
Cam.
homeboy. I wanted to bag his dad up. Like, I look at how my dad was with me. Like, he was so goddamn good, man. Like, fuck, if he needed to let me know I'm a dipshit, he did. But when I'm on top, like, he fucking pumped me up, man. And he built my confidence up, and I needed that, dude. I didn't know, and I needed it. And so anyway, man, I
think this is
don't
a
know.
great story
It is.
for a lot of kids who, listen, they may not have the best situation, but you know what? You can overcome it.
Yeah, you
Eventually
can.
it gets better.
Yep.
And for a lot of parents out there, chill out.
Chill out. God damn.
What is wrong with
Thank
you?
God I'm not coaching like you.
Chill the fuck
if I
out.
fucking had pardon my language. If I had a parent.
Pardon my language. Look what
I
you
don't
do
give
to
a
me.
shit. No,
now
no.
I'm dropping F-bombs.
F that. Here's the deal. If I had parents bullshitting me like that, Mike, I couldn't coach Andy. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how Kimmy does it. I don't know how the boys do it. I would lose my mind. I'd tell them to sit your stupid ass down. You don't know shit. You might know your kid, but you don't know shit about hockey. Sit down. There's always a reason why your kid's not playing. Always a reason. Shut the fuck up
You're
and get your
100%
kid
right.
working. That's it.
100%
He's
right.
not stopping.
And
He's not stopping in the house.
These parents
don't get me fired
who
up.
think you can be crazy and
God
it's
damn.
going to guarantee that your kid's going to make it.
Psycho.
It doesn't work that way.
You psycho.
Stop living through your kids.
Yeah, no shit. Comfort them. Pump them up.
Yeah.
Bring them down when you need to bring
Be
them
like,
down.
good luck,
But
man. You know what you tell your kid? You work your ass off. You listen to your coach.
Listen to your coach. If you're not playing, there's a reason why you're not playing.
You know,
there's a reason.
I used to talk to Big Walt Keith Kachuk about this.
bless it.
You know, he said, whenever the teacher calls the house and the parents want to blame the teacher now,
Oh, shut up,
he's like, you know what?
baby.
If my kids had a problem with the coach, I'd ask my kids,
What
what the
you
hell
do?
did you exactly?
What'd you do?
Exactly.
What'd you do? You're not stopping on the puck.
No.
And you're soft,
Yeah.
you baby.
And you have bad body language.
Jesus Christ.
Bad body language, man.
I know.
That's
but-
the worst. That is the worst.
You know what I hate? Whenever the kid comes and he's pissy because I didn't get the puck, and he comes to the bench and he starts at that stupid slide.
Sit your ass down.
The slide with the T slide that's like 20
Oh,
yards
you
away.
don't like
the
that.
T slide.
Yeah.
Get your ass on the bench, or I'll bag you up. God,
you should
bless
be,
it.
you should be coaching. You should be coaching.
No
Cam.
way. I talk. I just talk, baby.
Is that
I'm
it?
gonna talk on the mic. That's what I do.
And
I'll come. If we need to come out and I give the boys a pump. If I walk in that locker room, the boys are going to be all 2-minute majors. They're 5-minute major, walking 5-minute majors because I'm going to pump them up so damn much. I like that stuff.
Yeah.
I can motivate guys. I can't deal with the parents, and I
But
can't deal with lazy
I
kids.
will say
either,
this
by the
about
way.
Patrick O'Sullivan, though. It sounds like he's got a good head on his shoulders. I thought he was really good on the radio, by the way, when he was working with
thought
NHL
he was
Network
good, too.
Radio.
I
He was
remember that, yeah.
opinionated.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to tell you what to say, how to sound like,
I know.
what you should be like. It's a cutthroat business, Cam, as you know.
Yeah, it is.
People will treat you like shit. You got to overcome
Not
it.
us. They treat us like gold, baby.
That's true. But
I love it because we
for some-
treat everybody else great, and that's the thing.
That's true.
That's how it goes.
You got to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
But, Patrick
Talking to you.
O'Sullivan, man, he's found a way to make a career for himself. Now he's got kids that he's helping out.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of balls for him to come out and tell his story, too.
Yeah, and he did it, man.
And he did
He's
do
like,
it.
no, here's what it is.
And he says in the interview, it's not like I was making millions of dollars off this book.
no,
But he told his story. Could you imagine, like, your dad coming and ripping your ass off of the bus in the OHL?
if I was a coach of that OHL team,
Can we talk about that?
if I was a coach of that, I go, excuse me, what's going
Where
on?
was
Stop the bus.
Where was the coach?
Stop the bus.
And the GM?
What happened here? Excuse me, sir. Where are you taking him? No.
no.
He's our. No. Get his
He's
ass.
not your kid right now.
No.
He's ours.
We own him.
That's right.
Get his back. No, get him back on here right now. Excuse me, sir. What are you doing? Does he have somewhere to go? Is there a doctor's appointment? Why are you taking him away from this bus?
Get
with
off
this
our
Good
bus.
God. Get out of here. Oh man. See, I'm trying
There you
not
go.
to cuss, baby.
There
I'm
you
trying
go.
to cuss. I could be emotional and not cuss.
Even,
That would've pissed me off.
Even Patrick O'Sullivan, he says during the interview, he expected more F-bombs from you.
Oh, really? Did he say that?
Remember he said that, yeah.
I ignored that part.
Yeah.
We like him.
He
though.
expected more.
We like him.
And
though.
you've kind of toned it down. We've got Cam. We're teaching Cam.
I know. I'm good. I'll be good, man. I swear. I'll be good. I'm just. I want people to be able to listen to this in front of their wives and
Don't
stuff.
ever change, man.
No, I know.
Don't ever change.
I know. I hear you.
Cam Jansen. I'm Andy Strickland. Cam and Strick podcast. We got a lot of stuff going in the right direction right now, dude. Things are
coming at
really,
us.
really good. On the up and up. We're happy. Has some great interviews coming up, by the way. We just heard from Jeremy Roenick. Now we got Patrick O'Sullivan.
Got some big boys coming, too.
We got David Perron coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Who else? You don't even know.
Oh, Brad May.
Brad May was really good.
May
really
Day.
good. Really good.
Awesome. We know how to do it. We know how to do it.
So, again, Car Shield, support them. 800-857-2481. Go get a new car from Bellman.com. Tell Dan and Dale that we sent you from the Cam
Hockey
and Strick
people.
podcast.
They love it.
And our girl, the one and only Renee Howitt, we're giving you a shout-out, girl. You know we're
Love you,
thinking
girl.
about you during
We
this
love you.
pandemic.
She's doing great work.
Cope24.com. We're going to get through this. We're going to be impacting people, young people.
Yep.
Very, very soon. You know, Cam, things are looking good. Things are looking nice.
Yeah, they are.
WhenTheNormalBrand.com, and The Normal Brand is open for business.
Oh, my God. They got some great stuff. Men's and women's clothing. You look sharp. It's a great local St. Louis company that we all love. And, of course, they love hockey as well.
And back in business. Monday, May 18th.
Woo!
8809 Ladue Road. Come support one of the best local businesses here in the Lou. The Normal Brand and thenormalbrand.com.
Thanks, guys. Love you all.
This was the Cam and Strick Podcast, episode number 39. Until next time.